You know, I normally smile and look really happy at this point because Owen's here with the business. I'm not going to bother today. He's in bar humbug mode. No sign of a pre-Christmas rally on the markets.
I didn't set that one up very well. I should have been more frowning like this and saying, yes, bar humbug, absolutely. Normally, we should be expecting some sort of pre-Christmas rally, a little bull run to end the year. No chance of that. Is that a great surprise in the current climate? Probably not. The European markets opening up around 1% down. A lot of the UK banks as well, HSBC, Barclays, their shares took a bit of a tumble by around up to 2%. There's lots of banking reform on the table in London this Monday. We'll get into the details of that in just a moment. Let me show you the Asian markets as well. The Nikkei finishing the day around 1.3% down. Both the Hang Seng and the Shanghai Composite had some big sell-offs, partly in reaction to that news about Kim Jong-il's death, but did manage to recover some of those losses, but still, as you can see, they're very much in the red. I'll mention Olympus as well. While we're talking Asia, its share price finishing the day 8% down in Japan. Once again, you can see there what a tumble Olympus taken in the 3 months since that scandal to do with false accounting allegations first broke. In fact, Olympus's share price is now trading below 1,000 yen. Not the lowest it's been since that scandal broke, but still pretty low.
Well, we've also got Mario Draghi. He's giving his first address to the European Parliament since he took over the European Central Bank later. Have we got any kind of taster of what he's going to say, Owen?
He gave an interview to the Financial Times, basically breaking one of the unwritten rules of central bankers, which is do not really talk about the breakup of the euro. Now, I have to say, Draghi did not say that the euro is about to collapse, but he did evoke the kind of scenarios that would ensue should the eurozone break up, and basically said it would be very bad for everyone concerned, as you might expect him to say. A few lines there that that particularly grabbed my eye, where he admits basically that bonds are now more risky than stocks. That's how far the world has turned right now. Also that many governments, the likes of Greece, I should think he means, were to blame for this whole crisis because they did not meet the budgetary requirements to get into the euro in the first place. But we'll hear more from him this afternoon when he addresses the European Parliament. I suspect his remarks might be a little bit more careful, given that he's talking to fellow Eurocrats.
Probably, you're probably right. Now, we were moaning about the lack of festive spirit. We have got a little bit of snogging under the Christmas tree, though. It's between the UK and France. They're trying to kiss up after their latest row, or make up, I should say, rather than kiss up.
Kiss up, I like the sound of that. I don't know whether there'll be any mistletoe involved. This was a big row that blew up towards the end of last week, Stuart, involving the UK basically trading handbags over who's got the biggest deficit, who deserves to be downgraded. Well, the French are on the canvas a little bit because over the weekend, Fitch became the latest rating agencies to decide that France should be put on a negative credit outlook. That's a long way away from actually being downgraded, but it basically says that France could be downgraded within the next 2 years. That was after a week to forget for diplomatic relations between the UK and France. Christian Noyer, the governor of the Bank of France, had said that the UK should be downgraded before France because its deficit is bigger, its overall debts are larger than France. The Deputy Prime Minister in the UK, though, decided it's time to put an end to all of this, playing the diplomatic card over the weekend. He called for an end to this latest spat between France and UK, saying it did neither country's economy any good. Here's Nick Clegg, the UK Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, look, I think, in a sense, we could carry on day in, day out playing this sort of game of this sort of beauty contest between one economy and the other. I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps any economy. I don't think it helps any government. And that was something that was fully recognised by the French Prime Minister when I spoke to him a couple of days ago. So I just think we need to kind of calm the rhetoric and move on.
Well, we're going to stay with the UK, in fact, because later this Monday, the British government will tell Parliament it plans to split banks into separate retail and investment operations. Ministers say the reforms will make banking safer by keeping customer deposits away from risky deals. But the changes will have huge implications for the City of London at a time when its preeminence as a leading financial centre is being questioned.
Shaking up the banks. The British government is giving its full backing to the Vickers report, the conclusion of the Independent Banking Commission launched in the wake of the credit crisis. Its top recommendation: force lenders to separate their retail arms and riskier investment divisions. The aim of the so-called ring fence is to protect ordinary customers in the event of a crash and to save taxpayers money. In 2008, the government had to nationalise Northern Rock and bail out Lloyds and RBS, pumping billions of pounds into the troubled banks.
Our big banks we're at the very centre of the financial crisis, what the Europeans call, Anglo-Saxon financial capitalism. It needs reform.
The Vickers report says banks should have until 2019 to implement the changes, but the government wants to complete the legislation within 3 years.
We're going to get on with it. It's got to be done. We can't have a position where the big banks are too big to fail, where there's a taxpayer subsidy, so we're going to deal with that problem.
The country's biggest banks are lobbying against the reform. Among other complaints, they say it will make it harder to lend to businesses and individuals, and that it will cost too much, more than the £4 to £7 billion estimated by the Vickers report. They also insist it will drive banking business out of the UK.
Well, we'll keep you posted on that. That address to the UK Parliament by the Chancellor of the Exchequer will take place later this Monday afternoon. For now, let's get a little bit more of the day's business news for you. A proposed tax break extension for 160 million US workers is in jeopardy after running into opposition from Republicans. The deal, that could last up to a year, is the main sticking point in a package of spending measures worth nearly $1 trillion aimed at keeping the US budget in check. If Republicans and Democrats can't reach a compromise, the 2% tax break will expire by the end of this year.
Qantas has reached a 3-year agreement with its main engineering union. It's the first deal since the Australian airline and staff were forced into arbitration to settle a strike that led to the temporary grounding of its entire fleet last month. The deal will give around 1,600 engineers a 3% rise for each year of the agreement.
And Shell has been given permission to drill off the coast of oil-rich Alaska. A subsidiary of the Anglo-Dutch giant will be allowed to drill 6 potential wells from next summer, though it will have a reduced timetable to cater for clearing up any potential spills. Exploratory drilling in Alaska has been a political hot potato for the US, where environmental groups say it threatens wildlife and the subsistence lifestyle of native Alaskans.
That's it from me and from Owen for today. A lot more coming up, though. Claire's going to be here really short. She'll have culture, of course, after 9:30, so stay with us for that.
.8 million passengers around the world answered the same question. Which is the best airline in Europe? Turkish Airlines was voted the best.